Have you ever heard of a king blessed with wisdom whose harem of 1,000 women led to his downfall? This is the story of Solomon, the wisest, richest, and most powerful king in biblical history. He made Israel great, but had one weakness: women. His desire for women clouded his judgment, and despite his potential to be the greatest king of Israel, he ended up being one of the most flawed. God granted Solomon the gift of wisdom, enabling him to make Israel a powerful kingdom filled with wealth and trade relations with distant realms. His harem was a lush garden of 700 wives and 300 concubines from every corner of the known world. Princesses from Egypt with mysterious eyes, ladies from Moab, women from Ammon, Edom, and Sidon, all brought their own stories and dreams to Solomon's magnificent court. His harem became a labyrinth of political intrigue and fragile alliances, each union sealing pacts that ensured peace for his kingdom and bringing a piece of their homeland, turning the palace into a living tapestry of mixed cultures. However, these unions also introduced foreign gods and practices, challenging the pure faith of Israel. In this video, we will explore Solomon's story, from his incredible legacy of wisdom to his downfall. Was he really able to control his desires? What were the consequences of his death for the kingdom of Israel? Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any incredible biblical stories. Let's begin in the ancient city of Jerusalem in 990 BC, where a new prince was born, Solomon, which means peaceful and friend of God. Solomon was conceived from the relationship between Bathsheba and King David, the brave shepherd who defeated Goliath. However, Solomon's story began with a dark secret: the adulterous relationship between King David and Bathsheba, who was married to Uriah the Hittite, a brave soldier in David's army. In a desperate attempt to hide his sin, David sent Uriah to war, ordering the soldiers to leave him unprotected on the battlefield. Uriah met his death in combat, but God's eyes were not blind to David's actions. The death of David and Bathsheba's first son was seen as divine judgment for their adultery. Despite this, God showed mercy. He forgave David, and from their reconciliation, Solomon was born, a peace offering between heaven and earth. The young prince grew up under the tutelage of the wise prophet Nathan, who became Solomon's mentor and guide, shaping his mind and spirit with profound teachings and divine revelations. Nathan saw an extraordinary destiny in Solomon, perceiving the spark of wisdom and promise of greatness in the young prince's heart. With cunning and determination, Nathan began to weave a bold plan to make Solomon king. Nathan convinced King David that Solomon was destined to be the heir to the throne. Bit by bit, David began to see in his younger son the promise of a glorious future. When David fell ill, he gathered the strength to reaffirm his decision and name Solomon as his legitimate successor. However, the young Solomon, only 15 years old, knew his reign was born under the shadow of threats. His father's warning words echoed in his ears, reminding him to be vigilant against potential enemies. With resolution surpassing his age, Solomon embarked on an extensive purge to secure his power. Joab, David's chief general who supported Adonijah's claim to the throne, was one of the first victims. Solomon made it clear that no one was safe from his ruthless justice, even eliminating Adonijah to prevent any conspiracy against him. Solomon then strengthened the kingdom's military force and forged an alliance with the powerful Pharaoh of Egypt by marrying his daughter, sealing a pact that promised to strengthen ties between the two nations. On a quiet night, while Solomon lay resting, he plunged into a deep, revealing dream. God appeared before him and said, Ask for whatever you want me to give you." Solomon responded, "Give your servant a discerning heart to govern your people and distinguish between right and wrong." Pleased with Solomon's humble request, God granted him a wise and discerning heart, unlike any before or after him. This divine encounter marked a turning point in Solomon's life, enabling him to lead his people with justice, compassion, and unparalleled understanding. Solomon's wisdom became legendary, attracting people from all nations who longed to hear his words. His wisdom was reflected in a memorable judgment when two women claimed to be the mother of the same baby. Solomon proposed to cut the living child in two, giving half to each woman. The true mother, out of love, asked to give the baby to the other woman, while the impostor accepted the division. Solomon declared the true mother the one who wanted to spare the child's life. This judgment spread his fame throughout Israel, and the people saw that the wisdom of God was in him to administer justice. However, Solomon's wisdom couldn't shield him from his own desires. His harem of 1,000 women, each a political and cultural asset, also brought their gods and practices, challenging Israel's monotheistic faith. Idolatry infiltrated Jerusalem, and Solomon's heart turned away from God. The Lord, angered by Solomon's disobedience, warned that the kingdom would be torn away from his descendants. Despite his wisdom, Solomon's alliances with foreign women led him to build altars for their gods, distancing himself from his faith. Adversaries like Jeroboam arose, threatening Solomon's reign. In his later years, Solomon turned back to God, recognizing the futility of his idolatry. He poured his soul into the book of Ecclesiastes, reflecting on the fleeting nature of life and the importance of seeking God. After a 40-year reign, Solomon died, leaving behind a legacy of wisdom, wealth, and a kingdom on the brink of fracture. His son Rehoboam inherited a kingdom showing signs of division and discord. Despite his faults, Solomon's life teaches the importance of keeping God at the center of our lives. His wisdom, captured in his writings, continues to guide generations. Join us as we delve deeper into Solomon's story, his incredible rise and tragic fall, and the lasting impact of his reign.